Constitute a bad enough deal coming out of these negotiations this weekend that might cause you to vote no on the debt ceiling?
Well, let me make 2 points. First of all, this whole debt ceiling debate is not on the level. The folks that are insisting that we stonewall and we actually risk default, Mr. Boehner, Mr. McConnell, those are the folks who insisted we go to war in Iraq. They're the folks that insisted on these $2.3 trillion in tax cuts that were never paid for in the Bush administration. They are the ones who insisted that we have a prescription drug program on the credit card. The bill's coming due. And they're acting as though those bills can be waved away. And why? Because the next assault is on Medicare and Social Security. The second point is this, that this high-stakes cowboy gamble of playing Russian roulette with the American economy, putting at risk our full faith and credit, for the first time actually possibly defaulting on our debt. You know who really is going to lose on this? It's the American retiree. It's a person with an IRA. It's a mom and dad who've been putting money aside for their college education for their kids. Because the market is going to hammer us. At the end of the day, we are going to raise the debt ceiling because we have to. And the question is, will we do it in a responsible way? Or will we be pistol whipped by the bond market that compels us to do it? And if we do it the latter way, it's going to be that mom and dad who've been saving for their kid to go to college. It's going to be that retiree who is counting on that IRA or that Keogh plan. So this is reckless and irresponsible. My view, we should acknowledge that we have to pay our bills. America pays its bills, even ones, by the way, that we didn't necessarily endorse. Like, I oppose the Iraq War, but we've got to pay for it, partly because we've got veterans who've lost limbs. They're in the VA. They need our help. We're going to tell them, no, you gave your service, you gave your limbs to this country, and we're not going to pay the cost of making certain that you have a decent life. Not acceptable.
To be clear, Congressman, do you think that damage has already been done to the economic environment just by us getting this close already to potentially defaulting on the debt, this close to the debt ceiling?
Yes, I do, and it's risky. And what will happen is that when the market turns, it'll turn suddenly and savagely. And we won't know exactly what will precipitate it, but it could be a Lehman-style disaster. But also, you know, a basic American principle, we pay our bills. Can you imagine if you said, hey, I just don't feel like paying my mortgage. I'm not going to pay my rent. I'm not going to pay the college tuition. I just don't feel like it. Or I'm going to use that as leverage to get my way on something else. Politicians do not have a right to do that. We're playing Russian roulette with the American economy. My view, we should acknowledge our responsibility to pay our bills. Bills that some of which we endorse, some of which we didn't. But America pays its bills, and I support having us extend the debt with a clean vote on the debt ceiling so that we avert this real danger to American retirees, folks trying to put their kids through college in the American economy. 1 point, by the way, the increase in the interest rate, that's $160 billion additional debt to the American people. Reckless, irresponsible, and avoidable.
In terms of the sort of the twin disasters, or at least the two disasters out here that we're facing, one, as you are noting, is a political creation. That the debt ceiling vote is becoming a crisis. The potential of hitting the debt ceiling, the danger to the economy of getting at least this close to the debt ceiling is a political creation. A deal this weekend would be averting that. The other disaster is the jobs disaster. Is how bad the unemployment situation is right now, and the possibility that we're going back into recession. Can you imagine anything constructive on jobs coming out of this Congress because of this fight? Absolutely not. I mean, right now, we collect about 15% of the gross domestic product in revenues. That's the lowest tax collection since the Eisenhower era. We spend about 22%, and that's with Medicare, it's with Social Security and the baby boomers. Obviously, we have to bring revenues up. We could bring spending down some. The president's indicated, the Democrats have indicated a willingness to do that. But this starving the beast, which is the strategy of the radical Republicans, is all about undercutting any institutional capacity to do things, to rebuild that infrastructure like Professor Frank mentioned, to do the water and sewer renovation that we need in cities and towns throughout the country, to do basic scientific research in health care and in science that has always been the hallmark of economic growth and the pride of America. So are we going to have confidence as a nation
that we can be in this together, that we can invest in the future, that we can rebuild our infrastructure, or are we going to deny our obligation to pay obligations incurred? That's what this debt ceiling debate is about, and essentially stick it to working women who will pay the biggest price when they see the impact of higher interest rates on their credit cards, on their mortgages, and lower values in their IRAs and in their college funds for their kids.
Democratic Congressman Peter Welch of Vermont, thanks for your time tonight, sir. I appreciate you joining us on a Friday. Thank you.
Thank you.
More ahead.